the first thing you need to do is to obviously download your PDF pattern. The one I'm going to be using is the new Kimdave Women's Wear UK size 6 to 16, which is available, linked down below for anyone who wants to check it out. I'm going to be using that to explain how to actually print and assemble a PDF sewing pattern. So it usually comes in PDF form, which you would either receive via email or downloadable from the shop, wherever you decide to get your sewing patterns from. And one thing I want to point out with printing PDF pattern is you want to ensure that the scale is at 100%. Don't zoom it out and don't change any of the settings. Just leave it at 100%, and that way you are able to keep the dimensions of the pattern the way it is when you print it out on A4 paper. So I'm just going ahead here to print out all of the pages of the PDF. This one has a total of 15 pages. It comes with printing instructions as well, so you have an idea of how to assemble everything. Once you have all of your pages printed out, it's actually time to go ahead and trim it down. This one has dashed lines that actually has a little scissors icon, so you know you're meant to cut along these lines. You need to cut down all of the different paper sheets, because once you have it all cut down, you can go ahead and join it together using tape or glue. So I've made two piles, a pile for the front, a pile for the back, and my leftover paper I am going to recycle. Please recycle any excess paper that you're not going to use. Let's take care of this planet together, shall we? So once that is done, I'm going to go ahead and assemble my patterns together. I'm going to grab my first pile, which is my front. This one has a total of 6 panels. So starting from the top, you are usually labeled either A to B to D or 1 to 2 to 3. You just need to connect corresponding points together. This one actually has points that you can match up, and that will sort of help you get an idea of where it's meant to be. It's kind of like putting together a puzzle, but once you know what goes where, it actually is very exciting to see it all come together to become a pattern that you can either keep as a plan or cut down to your size and use to create your garments. So now that we've assembled the patterns roughly, it's time to go ahead and tape this down. So I'm using a clear sellotape so I can see all of my lines underneath the tape. And I like to start from points that have lines that are meant to go together, because once those lines are not properly connected, it's going to affect like your sewing and your construction later on. So once I've connected those line points, I am joining together areas that you can clearly see connecting points, like this particular area here. I'm going to add at least 2 tapes for each sort of joining line vertically. I'm going to join sort of like pairs vertically and then connect them horizontally. You can decide to join in any other way that you're comfortable doing, but I just find doing this just makes it a lot easier for me to put it all together. So take your time aligning points when you're joining dots, when you're joining side seams, when you're joining arm curves, center front lines, because you sort of want the lines to travel from one panel to the other in a straight way that actually makes sense. So now that I'm done with this particular sheet here, I'm going to go ahead and tape down all of the panels for my other sheets, so I have it ready, joined together to either cut down or to keep as a plan for future projects. So these are all of my panels taped down, ready to use. It's looking really good, and I'm so proud of this project. Now, when it comes to how to use this sort of plan, you can either keep it the way it is and trace out the whatever size you need, or you can cut down to your desired size, or you can actually create a custom sizing, which would be a case of if you have like a narrow bust, you can connect it into a smaller size. If you have wider hips and a smaller bust line, you can connect a size 8 to a size 12, for example. So just feel free to be as experimental as you want to. For the sake of this video, I'm just cutting out a size 10. So I'm cutting along the size 10 neckline, armhole, side seam, hem, center front, center back. So I actually have a pattern piece that I can go ahead, place on fabric, cut and sew. So this is my front and my back cut down to a UK size 10. The pattern has an ease of about 1/2 inch and it's for woven fabric. So if you want to do something with stretchy fabrics, you sort of have to shrink this down depending on how stretchy your fabric is. Remember, however, to add your seam allowance. I'm working with 1/2 inch seam allowance here. You can decide to use 1 centimeter, 2 centimeters, depending on the projects that you are doing. For your center back, don't forget to add your zip allowance on the center back. If you want that front to be one piece, you have to cut it on a fold, so you have one piece that sits on the front of your bodice. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly cut out my pieces here, add my notches on my bust line, my waistline for my front and my back pieces, and then I'm going to transfer the relevant dart. So because I'm working with a size 10, I'm going to be working with that middle dart here, and I like to transfer my dart using pins from the paper onto the fabric, and then with a chalk I just mark the point where the pin actually comes out in the fabric. So I do this for this side, and then I turn it to the other side, slightly lift the pattern and mark that area where the pin is with a chalk, so I sort of have those main dart points ready to be pinned together and to be stitched to create the dart on the garment. After pinning all of the darts for the front, I'm going to go ahead and repeat the same process for the back panels, transferring it from the pattern paper onto the fabric with chalk and then just pinning it ready to be stitched. So I'm going to take this to my domestic machine and quickly stitch up the darts using a normal straight stitch, remembering to do my reverse stitch at the beginning and at the end, or tie a knot if that's what you prefer. So once I'm done stitching the darts, I'm going to go ahead and sort of give it a quick press just to relax all of those seams, and then I'm going to pin the shoulders and the side seams together, connecting the front to the back. So by the time I sew this all together, I have an idea of what the finished bodice is going to look like. So this I am doing just to prove that the bodice can actually create sort of like a real size garment that you can change, adapt, manipulate to create any dress, top, blouse, jacket that you want to do. The amazing thing about a basic bodice is it's actually very versatile, and because it's a wide variety of sizes, you can choose whatever size you want to or customize the necklines, the armhole, the length to your liking. If you'd like to check out this pattern, I've linked it down below. It's available on the store to pre-order from today till the 4th of March, and then afterwards the prices changes to something different. But if you do check it out, let me know in the comment section down below. If you do recreate your own project with this PDF sewing pattern, I would actually love to know your feedback, because then I know how to improve the products and create even more PDF sewing patterns for you guys in the future. Until my next video, have a good morning, afternoon and evening wherever you are. Bye.